Hey everybody! It's only been a week since I did my last garden update with you, and I'm already ready to do another one because it is now the end of May, and every single week that goes by, because the temperatures are rising every week, the tomatoes are just popping right now. I mean, in 1 week, you will not believe the growth on these guys. But let me show you, if you want to head up with me up to the rooftop, and we'll check it out. There's that celery again. It's getting even taller. Probably grew a foot in this past week. The bees are loving it. Got some bee action there. Verbena, totally loving life. You can see the artichokes are already starting to kind of dry up a little bit. Those flowers, this one still looks nice and fresh. So that happens quick, and then they die back, and they die down to the ground, and then they come back. It's super cool. Look at those tomatoes. Now, one way that you can tell how much they've grown is by looking at how many of these shoots made their way outside of the cage. Because as you probably recall, I did a lot of tucking last week and draping of the different branches to try to support these guys. I told you they grow really fast, and once they're kind of floppy and whatever, it's very difficult to get them supported. So they don't flop over and like become a mess and then like, you know, get mold or whatever. You know, they do all sorts of stuff when they're not properly looked after. So you can tell, I mean, these branches are all new. In some cases, I would say there's another foot of growth on these tomatoes in the past week. It's crazy. And the same thing with the corn. I mean, the corn, that top leaf is as tall as me now. So these guys are really loving life. They're probably gonna hit the roof in the next week or two. Not really sure exactly what's gonna happen with that, but we'll cross that bridge when we come there, because if I don't have them inside the cage, the squirrels will ravage them as they did last year. Carrots, and everything's just really lush looking. These are the radishes, and then the Mizuna over here. You have some celery starts, a little bit of lettuce. That's so sad. And then this is great, my little basil here, which looks so happy in this spot. And cilantro as well. I'm happy to have these looking good, because of the other places that I planted these herbs, they weren't super loving it. So it's nice to have these here. But yeah, you can see it's going to become a jungle in here. I'm gonna spend a little bit more time tucking some of these tomato shoots into the cages. But before I do that, I'll just show you the other side of things. Looking a little barren over here compared to the other side. But there's significant growth with our kale. More so in the side of the bed with more sun. Guess that makes sense. But these guys are, you know, they're doing it. Had to spray them with some insecticidal soap because they were really getting nibbled. But they're looking like they actually have a chance to go now. Some weeding needs to be done in here. So pay attention to that as you're watching, because these things can just take over, and they do take nutrients from the plants that you want to be growing here. So it's best to get them out before they develop a really intense root system. And then basically down here is all of our cucumbers and melons, and they have kind of ballooned recently, but nothing like the tomatoes. That's okay. Different plants have different growth patterns and rates of speed. This is one of my melon, the Noir de Calme, French melon. Here's another one here. Started indoors and transplanted out here last week. It's looking good. No sun scorch. It's a little protected back here. And then the Ha Ogan melon, which I think I actually planted one over there and it might have died, I think. But there's 2 right here. And then these are the 2 okras. They're still kind of teeny. Moving on to Bait Alpha Cucumber. Here is our guy. Starting to get nice and sizable. I do want to encourage this guy to get onto the trellis. It might not be quite long enough to really support itself there, but, and it doesn't really have any tendrils yet. So once it gets tendrils, they'll really grab on. So you're just gonna keep an eye on your cucumbers and melons, have your trellises in place, and as they grow, try to kind of loop them through. At a certain point, they will grab on themselves. Here's a good example. Let's see. I wonder if that leaf will hold it there. Ooh, that's nice. Okay, so, and then this guy, where it's growing from, is probably gonna be like, I wanna get towards the sun, so it's gonna probably come back through this way, and that will be good. Maybe that tendril will grab on there. So there we go. Let's see how that goes, guys. So you can see things grow at different paces, and that's okay. That's a good thing. Wow, these tomatoes, I can't believe. I'm gonna try to tuck some of these guys in here for a sec. So basically the moral of the story is that, again, you have to come up and check on your plants, or come out and check on your plants. You have to do it very often. I also fall into the temptation of, nah, I have automatic irrigation, it's fine, like I'll just pop over there like every, 4 days, 5 days, or whatever. That doesn't work for many reasons. One of the reasons is bugs. Sometimes bugs come and they can create a huge amount of damage in a very short amount of time, as we've seen with the green tomato hornworms and the aphids that I've been dealing with. The other reason, especially during this time, really like late spring, early summer, is the growth rate. And I had on those tomatoes, probably like some of them had almost 2 feet of new growth in a week. It's insane. And they're all falling out of the cages. Now, that doesn't seem like such a bad thing right now, but you'll see once they get even bigger, that weight, it will keep growing, and that weight will pull even those huge tomato cages that I have, it will pull it right over. So, and then they're in your path, you're walking on them, like there's so many things that come out of that can be an issue. So really at this time, the most important reasons why you need to come up to your garden or out to your garden very often is to check on these things. You need to check on, like, did my transplant that I put out here last week, is it getting sun scorched? Do I need to protect it from the sun with some shade fabric or another method? Do I have any bugs that I need to deal with before they get out of control? And do I need to support the new growth of my plants with a support structure? Now, you always want to do that beforehand, as I've told you, but better late than never, really. So, yeah. There we go. Wow, the corn is not falling over yet, so I'm gonna just leave it, but I will eventually use stakes like these. I'll give each corn stalk its own stake, and I can use a piece of twine like this and tie the corn to it, and that will keep them nice and upright. That might be happening next week for next week's check-in. So stay tuned for that. And you guys, it's a quick one this week. I am less than a month from having my baby, and things are getting crazy. I'm actually getting married in a week and a half. And then, of course that comes with a lot of preparations, even though it's gonna be small. And, once that's over, it's all about the baby. So this week, I spent about, I'd say probably 6 to 7 hours writing thank you notes for my baby shower. I really got spoiled. And you know, it's just that kind of stuff that's taking up time. But I'm so grateful. I have the best friends and family. I got so many amazing gifts, and I'm starting to get really excited, but there's just so much going on. That being said, I'm still out here. I'm still checking on my garden, and you should too. No excuses. You'll regret it if you put it off for too long, because, you know, damage can happen very quickly. So get out there, check on stuff. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. Try to help you out with any issues you might be having in your garden this season. I hope you had a happy Memorial Day weekend if you're in the States, and I will see you next week.